welcome to Free the Seeds 2021. I'm Robin Kelson. I'm the owner of the Good Seed Company, and I'm here with the folks from Farmhands North of Flathead to tell you why it's so cool to save seeds and why we need you to help us build our seed supply in our community this year. So we really want you to enjoy the process. But they're also critical for our survival because humans eat food. That's just how we thrive and survive as beings on this planet. And all food comes from plants, and plants come from seeds. Even the animals that you hunt rely directly or indirectly on plants for their food. We as humans have developed all the biodiversity for our agricultural seed supply over the last 10,000 years. We are responsible for all the variety that we rely on today. We also, over the last 100 years, have destroyed more than 96% of that biodiversity. And so we actually are at risk of losing variety, and we are also actually at risk of losing our access to seed we can save. How did we get here? Well, over the last 100 years, we stopped saving our own seed, and we relied more and more on seed companies to provide seed for us. And seed companies over the last 100 years stopped selling the variety that they used to sell and stopped selling so many open pollinated seeds or heirloom seeds, which are the seeds that you can save, and relied more and more on developing what are called hybrid seeds, which really don't grow true to types. You can't save them. So all of this is to say that our seed supply is at risk. And when our seed supply is at risk, our ability to feed ourselves and take care of ourselves as a community is at risk. So through Free the Seeds, we're trying to rebuild our local seed supply and rebuild our seeds resiliency and our food resiliency by asking everyone in our community to start saving seed. The seeds that you can rely on to save are called open pollinated or heirloom seeds. So in all the seeds that you're going to have in your bundle are going to be open pollinated seeds. If everybody saved seed from 3 to 6 of the plants that they grew and donated just 10% of that to the community library or Free the Seeds, we would be rebuilding our seed supply really, really quickly. So that's the goal. As you can see, these are bean seeds. Every single one of those will make a bean plant that will make maybe 100 pods, and each pod maybe has somewhere between 6 to 10 beans. So that's 6,000 beans in one plant. We don't need all of those. If you gave us 600 of them, or even 100 of them, or even 60 of them, that would help build our seed supply. All right, so here's the tricks of the trade for easy garden planning when you're growing plants for seed. The first thing to think about is let's divide the plants into 2 types of plants. There's what we call the fruit plants, and then the greens and roots plants. So fruit plants are the plants where we actually eat the seeds, or we eat the flesh that surrounds the seeds. And the reason that's important is that you and I are used to growing those plants in order to get that product that we eat, which is the fruit. And so we have a felt sense of how long it takes to grow that plant and how big it's going to get. Nothing's going to change in terms of how big the plant's going to get. You're going to grow that fruit plant as if you were growing it for food. The only thing that will change is how long you're going to let it stay in the ground. A lot of the times we eat the fruit when the seed is still not ripe. When you're growing a plant for seed that's a fruit plant, you're going to want them to stay in the ground until the fruit is completely mature. And that's oftentimes longer than we're thinking of. And we'll give you instructions on how to do all this in your seed bundle. But we wanted to give you just a heads up that fruit plants, you're typically going to want to leave them in the ground until they're fully ripe. The other kind of plants that we grow are the plants that we call greens and roots. Our lettuces, our spinach, our chard, kale, things like that. Root plants are our radishes, beets, parsnips, carrots. And if you think about it, you've probably never seen the flowers on your lettuce plant or your spinach plant. And that's because we eat the plant before it ever goes to flower, let alone to seed. So if you're going to grow lettuce for seed, or spinach, or chard, or kale, you're going to want to let that plant flower and go to seed. And that's going to be different than what you're used to. Lettuce plants, maybe they get this big and we either harvest the whole head or we're pulling the leaves until for the life of the plant. But if you were to let it sit and not do anything, it will eventually grow to being about 4 or 5 feet tall. And it'll form flowers and it'll get kind of big and unwieldy. So you want to think about that when you're planning your seed garden and you're planning your spacing for your lettuce plants or your kale plants that you're going to let go to seed. On behalf of Farmhands Nourish the Flathead and Free the Seeds, we're here to tell you that all the information you've heard today is just the tip of the iceberg, and we're setting you up for success. So in your seed bundles will be more information, we'll have resources online, and if you've got any questions, reach out to us. We're here to help make this a fun experience for you so that we can all benefit from building our own seed supply, sharing seeds with each other, and developing our own resiliency as a community. So thanks so much, and looking forward to a great seed saving year together.